morning. Don't it look gorgeous? Okay, we have to get my finger out of the camera. Let's try this. We have a kind of a busy morning. I'm gonna go to the gym first. Then we need to go to Meijer and we need to go to Sam's Club because Tony likes certain unsalted nuts from Sam's Club, and we're gonna get some rice from Sam's Club. Then we need to go to Meijer and get some coffee and jalapenos. I know, random, but we're gonna do it. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right, well, change plans. What happens when we have one car, two drivers? I had all these plans today. I had my moment. Yes, maybe it's something stupid to cry about, but I was literally about to walk out the door to go to the gym and go be productive today. And my daughter came downstairs and she's like, "Oh, I thought I told you I had to work this morning." And maybe she did. Maybe I just forgot. But in my head, she usually doesn't work until afternoon. So I can't go to the gym. I can't get groceries. And I have to find a ride to work. So that's fun. The good news is she'll be able to pick me up from work because she'll be out of work before I get out of work. But her either getting off at 4 or having to be at work at 4 and me needing to be at work at 3 and having one car, it's not working at all. So I guess I could take my gym clothes off and figure out something else. It looks like it's about to rain outside, so I can't really take a walk. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. The house doesn't need picked up. I feel defeated. That sucks. I was really looking forward to getting to the gym today. I was actually very excited to wake up and want to go to the gym. And now I can't. I don't know what all is going to be in this video today then. Just keep smiling, right? So I think all of my momentum today just completely got sidetracked. I have accomplished absolutely nothing. I edited a video. I got a good cry today. And now I'm getting ready for work. So I'm waiting on my dad to come pick me up to take me to work. I feel like a teenager again. Is that so? Yeah. Yeah. Aren't those two the freaking cutest? I swear to goodness, I can't stand them. They're so freaking adorable. I love them so much. Anyways, okay, so this is an old video. I'm trying not to make this a theme. Apparently it's becoming a theme. I'm struggling with finding things to film day to day that will be interesting. I thought today would be interesting to go to the gym and be productive, and then I had a lot of the momentum sucked out of me because I literally couldn't leave the house. So I ended up getting a ride to work for my dad that day, and I filmed nothing else and did nothing else after that. I just went to work, came home, laid down for a while, played on my phone, and went to bed. So I decided I'll go ahead and add in an old video so we can look again at how things used to be. And the fact that I do still struggle with that sewing desk. This is how we had last year our holiday setup for when people came over. We usually put an extra table into the living room with a tablecloth and things like that for when our family comes over, so we have extra seating for everybody. And then again, this couch is damaged underneath from Hamilton when he was a puppy, so I use these blankets from Biggest Blanket Company we have 5 of them, I think, total. So I rotate them out sometimes. I think the only one I don't really use to rotate out is Tony's blanket. Um, his has dinosaurs on it, and I don't think it goes with anything in our house. The other blankets that we have are either solid colored, or this one is black on one side and checkered on the other. So sometimes I'll use the checkered side for Christmas until one day we can get a new couch. But for now, the couch is usable. It just is really ugly underneath because of the hole that was chewed into it. So this week coming out soon, I do have some really fun things that I did that I'm excited to edit and put out there, but I'm also really struggling on boring days. Not every day is going to be exciting. Some days I am just going to be home or I'm not going to have much going on. So those are the days through the 75 Better challenge that, I mean, aside from me reading my book and working out every day, moving my body every day, and everything that I had listed prior, that gets really monotonous and boring to film after 40 something days in. So I'm trying to be more motivating and show a lot more of what I'm eating and making the food with me. And then aside from that, I'm struggling a little bit right now. In the future, day 40 something, and I don't know, just I feel tired and worn down. I had a cheat day this weekend, and I'm kind of regretting the decision now to have the cheat day. And it's not so much that I did have the cheat day, it's that I just feel a little tired and a little worn down the past couple days. And I am struggling with getting to a work life balance. I'm getting so many steps at work that I'm not used to, and it's starting to hurt my body because I still, even though I'm 30 pounds down, have so much weight coming down on my knees, and I do have arthritis in my right knee. And so lately it's really been giving me some issues when I'm walking. So hopefully I was off yesterday and I don't have to work until later today. So I've been trying my best to kind of rest my leg as much as possible. So sometimes I struggle with finding things to say on these voiceovers or topics to talk about. So today I went on the internet and I looked at different ideas. So I guess I could do like a Q&A type of thing about 75 Better. And so it says the first one is, why did I start? Okay. So I did this because I went to the doctor and got told that I had high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and then it made me realize that if I kept doing what I'm doing, that I'm probably going to end up with bigger health problems. Notoriously, my dad's side of the family are bigger. My dad himself has had a heart attack and a stroke and has dealt with issues because of his weight. I have had family who has struggled a lot because of their weight, and I've seen them struggle, and I don't want the same thing for myself. That, and just I notice different things like they're holding me back, like things as simple as going to theme parks and sitting in a roller coaster. And the last time I tried to fly, I barely was able to buckle the seatbelt. That was humiliating. And I don't want to live a life like that. I don't want to live a life where I have to be afraid to do things because of my weight. Alright, question number 2 is the hardest part so far. Okay, so actually, the hardest part so far is reading my 10 pages a day. I am failing on that. I am reading a lot more. I am getting to my books a lot more, but I'm failing to find the motivation to read 10 pages a day, especially when I get home and I'm exhausted, or I have a big day where I'm out running around and I don't want to come home and read. Other than that, I think cravings are sometimes getting me. Like sometimes I crave things that I probably never craved before. And binge eating can still be a thing that I'm trying to defeat sometimes too, because even something as stupid as I got a bag of granola from Sam's Club that was really good, and I found myself going back for handfuls of it. And I had to physically tell myself, okay, that's enough, don't do that anymore. So I want to say probably reading and my urges to want to eat more and to binge eat are probably the hardest part of this. The working out has been fine. The getting my steps in has actually been a lot easier than I thought it would be. And I enjoy the eating part of it. I enjoy the making these meals and calculating how much protein and things are in it and coming up with different ideas. And it helps that I'm not doing it by myself, that I have somebody who is doing this with me, and that we both are coming up with these meal ideas together. What I've learned about myself. Okay, that's a little tougher. So, for me, I've learned that I can do this and that I can stay dedicated to something, that I'm not always going to quit, and that with enough motivation and enough thought, I can complete something. I'm on day 40 something, like 46, I think, today that I'm doing this voiceover. And so for 46 days, I have held myself accountable to getting some sort of exercise every day, to eating the best that I can. Obviously, you see and will see that there are days where my eating has not been perfect. The week that I'm recording this is actually a perfect example of this, but I am for the first time very proud of myself for being able to stick to something, and I've definitely learned that it is possible and that I am able to make positive changes. Okay, what happens if I miss a day? Nothing. Nothing happens. As with this challenge anyways, I just pick it up the next day and try to keep going. I said before, like with 75 hard, you are supposed to start over when you miss a day or you make a mistake, and I don't want to do that because I feel that will derail a lot of the progress that I'm making and make me feel guilty about missing a day or failing a moment or not getting enough steps, and so nothing actually happens. I just continue on the next day, or as soon as I realize that I've not achieved a goal for the day, I'll make a mental note of it and then I move on. And it's just that simple. It doesn't have to be anything worse than that. This is a good one. Why is starting harder than continuing? That's a very good question. So, I would psych myself out a lot and tell myself I couldn't do it, or I'm actually not even eating that much, or there were so many things, and I would go, I can't do this, I keep trying, my weight's not going anywhere. But as it turns out, I just wasn't trying the right things. But I would constantly psych myself out to even starting a challenge like this or even truly start losing weight because I really thought that I was trying to do the best that I could. I really thought that I wasn't eating a lot or that I wasn't consuming a lot of calories, and it wasn't until I started actually counting my calories and looking at my macros in depth and tracking daily that I realized that I actually was eating a lot. So I may have been only eating one plate of food for dinner, but I was also eating a lot throughout the day or snacking absent-mindedly throughout the day. Um, and then just, if you go from a world where you didn't really work out or move a lot, it's daunting to think about, okay, every single day for 75 days, I have to either go to the gym or I have to get a minimum amount of steps that I'm allowing myself to make. So my minimum is 6,000 for the day. So I want to try to get a minimum of 6,000 steps or go to the gym for 45 minutes. And that is really hard to get started. But once you're in it and you're doing it, it becomes easier and more routine to do every single day. Okay. So another question I'll answer is why I'm not trying to be perfect. That's a very good question. Because I feel like in order to be better, you don't need to be perfect. You need to try your best to make positive changes. I think that as long as you are doing what you feel is better for you, that it doesn't need to be perfect and it doesn't have to happen the right way every single time. I am in no way some person who knows a lot about fitness or nutrition or anything like that, but every single day I'm learning and I'm trying new things, and not every day is perfect. Some days I eat differently than I want to or should, and I indulge a little bit. Or some days I don't get enough steps, or I don't make it to the gym because I'm just not feeling well. And so I think it's okay to not be perfect. Again, like I said, as long as you are trying to be better and you're trying to form better habits, and then eventually it will get to a point where you just feel good about yourself without the need for perfection. Small habits that have made the biggest difference. For me, it starts at the grocery store. Or honestly, before I go to the grocery store, I walk to my fridge. I look and see what we have, things that we go through pretty easily, fruits, vegetables, uh, turkey, things like that, things that we keep on hand constantly for quick meals that we know are within our macros, and it starts there. And then I head to the grocery store and I only allow myself to buy things that I know are good for us. Now, I've showed different grocery shopping trips where I buy things for my kids or for if they're having sleepovers, but those aren't for me. Those are different occasions. What else? I guess another one would be the second that I wake up. I think, do I have work today? If I have work today, I'm not going to the gym, most likely because I'm going to be getting in my 6,000 steps at work. If I'm not going to work, what time am I going to the gym and what is my day going to look like? And I immediately start my day with that in mind. And then the second thing I do is I walk downstairs and I make my coffee and I immediately decide what protein I'm putting in my body, because I usually have tried to make it a habit within the first 30 minutes of waking up. I eat protein before I do anything else with my day. Sometimes that looks like a quick protein source, a protein bar, protein yogurt, protein something. Sometimes I don't feel like making a whole meal. Other days it looks like some sort of omelet or actual breakfast. I'm not really picky on how it starts or how I get it. It just depends on that morning. Do I feel like cooking? Do I not feel like cooking? 9 times out of 10, I usually don't feel like cooking in the morning. I just want to have my coffee, a quick protein bar or something, and then start my day. And then at lunch, I worry about getting something more into my system than a protein bar and coffee. But I at least start my day with, I try to get at least 32 grams of protein in the morning when I wake up. What actually motivates me? I think I touched on this a little bit already. It's the fact that I don't want to be unhealthy anymore. I don't want to worry about missing out on things because of my weight or stepping back or not wanting to be in pictures. I, I don't want to be on blood pressure medication. I don't want My biggest motivator is trying to lose enough weight that I don't need to have my CPAP anymore. I've heard so many success stories about people losing weight and not having sleep apnea anymore. My sleep apnea didn't start until I started gaining weight, so I am hopeful that it will be something that I can eventually overcome. And the prospect of not being attached to that CPAP anymore and being able to sleep more freely or be able to go somewhere and sleep overnight without having to drag a machine with me is wildly motivating for me right now. It wasn't always. I was in a very dark, deep, depressed place, and I didn't care. I didn't want more out of life. I didn't care if I traveled. I didn't care if I went anywhere, so being strapped to that machine didn't matter to me. But I do recognize that it's not what I want for the rest of my life. I don't want this. I want to be able to go out and do things and have fun and enjoy my life and not feel weighed down. I don't want to be out of breath when I'm walking down the street or walking around an amusement park or needing to stop and take breaks because my legs hurt. And so I think just the thought of a better me, a not even fitter, like not even skinny, like I don't even care if I'm skinny. I just want to be healthy. And for me, that matters over what I look like physically. The day that I lose enough where I don't need the CPAP anymore, or my doctor tells me that I don't need blood pressure medication or cholesterol medication anymore, and the day where I feel like I can do things without thinking about my weight first, is the day that I will be happy with where I'm sitting at. I don't actually have a goal in mind. I think that's just it for me. It's just the day that I feel better is the day that I'm waiting for. What I'm scared will happen when the challenge ends. So, here's what I'm afraid of. This challenge is going to end right before the holidays. It's going to end around Halloween, going into Thanksgiving, going into Christmas, and so on. What I am terrified of is that I let myself indulge for these holidays and I can't stop myself. What I'm afraid of is feeling the way that I felt even 46 days ago and so on. And I don't ever want to go back there. I want to keep making better choices, but I fear once the cold weather starts, once the holidays start, that it could be very easy for me to slide back into old habits. And so I will have to actively make sure during that time, especially during the winter, when I don't want to move my body, when I become the most stagnant, that I'm still motivating myself to keep going and keep trying and keep losing. I think that is absolutely my biggest fear for when this challenge ends. Right now, I wake up every day, I look at what day of the challenge I'm on, I think about, am I going to the gym? What am I going to eat today? Like, there's so many things motivating me because I have put this challenge inside of my days. I make it work inside of my days. But when I don't have this, I hope that I can continue a lot of the habits that I have formed during this challenge. Habits that I want to keep after 75 days. For sure, eating better. I want to keep that a habit of making sure that I am finding a good balance between the things that I eat. Now, are there things that I absolutely want to eat that are unhealthy? Yes, but I think it's important that after these 75 days, I still keep a good balance in maintaining what I'm eating and working out, or at least keeping myself moving daily, those two habits for sure I want to keep going after this challenge. What I've noticed changing physically. Physically, I see that my face isn't as puffy most days. I think that's one of my biggest things that I've noticed. Physically, I can feel my clothes starting to get bigger, which is always a fantastic feeling. Um, I'm not at the point yet where I can't wear the clothes that I was wearing before, but I think it is going to happen within hopefully soon. There are some of my pants that I'm wearing where it's on the cusp of being too big for me to wear them. Shirts I'll probably still wear. I still really like the shirts that I had before. They'll just be a little baggier on me, and I'm okay with that. Physically, I noticed that I'm able to work out for longer. I'm able to walk longer. I'm able to have better stamina. And so I do notice that there are changes in my body happening that are positive. I am even looking at this video now from last year, and I already see such a huge difference. This shirt is loose on me now. It's not tight on me. You don't see my belly stick out of it like it does in this. Now it still does a little bit, but not as bad. And these pants I actually wore recently. They're getting really loose on me. So those are definitely some huge physical changes that I have noticed. I also noticed different things like I recently went and rode go-karts with my daughter, and the difference from the last time I rode go-karts with her to this time was very much different. The last time when I was at my heaviest that I rode with her, I had a very hard time getting down into the go-kart, and then because I was so far down after we were done riding, I struggled to get out of that go-kart. I had to like crawl out of it almost. This time around, I found it much easier to be able to get down and sit into the go-kart, and then afterwards it took me no time at all to get out of the go-kart. And so I didn't realize struggling to do things like that was going to be a challenge. And then when you start making positive changes and you realize that that has changed, it's very eye-opening. Just that small non-scale victory of being able to go ride go-karts and not get out of breath getting out of the go-kart was such a good feeling for me. Would I do this challenge again? 100 times over, yes. And honestly, I'm been debating on creating another 75 better challenge more tailored to the winter so that maybe I can use that to keep myself going and use that for motivation during the winter. I'm not entirely sure what that would look like yet or what parameters I would add to that 75 better challenge, especially because it will be harder for me to get outside. I do not like being cold, so I will have to physically make myself leave the house. And then, obviously, with winter comes getting snowed in or not being able to go outside. And if that happens and I can't go on a walk and I can't go to the gym, how am I going to keep myself active at the house and moving around the house so that I can still get in steps or I can still get in a workout? And so I think I would be interested to create a challenge specifically for the holidays and specifically for the winter. This has been one of the things that has worked the best for me since I went on the keto diet. I did the keto diet. I succeeded at the keto diet because I really wanted to lose weight before my wedding. However, the honeymoon, I ate so much food and I didn't stop. And though I lost 40 pounds on the keto diet, I probably gained about 80 of that back. And so it wasn't a sustainable diet. And I'm hoping that with this 75 Better challenge and staying in the calorie deficit and just eating better in general, that it will be easier for me to maintain long term than it would be a restrictive diet like the keto diet. Okay, so we are getting to where we are going to be wrapping up this area, and I think I'm watching this, and the amount of juice and the amount of pop and the amount of snacks that I am taking off this table is absolutely wild to me. And I think about it now, and I had convinced myself I didn't drink a lot of pop or I didn't consume a lot of unhealthy products. However, if we had it in the house, we were always like, oh, we better drink it up, because most likely we bought this because we had people over for a party or something. And so every night for dinner, we would drink at least one. Sometimes Tony would drink more than one. Sometimes I would drink more than one. That and the amount of snacking that would go on behind the scenes is insane. And now, this year, since we have both started eating better, we have had couple parties, we have done graduation parties, we have done different things, and guess what? We did not overbuy product. And if we had extra pop or we had anything that we bought for these parties, we sent it home with other people. And we did not consume what we had, or we didn't tell ourselves, oh, since we have it, we need to finish it. We didn't do that. We have both made such positive changes in the way that we look at food and our diet, and I'm so very proud of how far we have come. I'm currently just enamored at the changes that we have been able to make. Alright, so I need to wrap up this last minute or so, and I just want to say thank you for watching this if you have watched it. If you're new, I hope that you stick around because I plan on doing another challenge after this. I think now that more that I'm thinking about it, a winter challenge sounds phenomenal, and I can take the skills that I've used from this challenge and recording from this challenge and try to use that to create better content in the future. And maybe that'll be a cool goal for me, to get like a certain amount of subscribers or a certain amount of things. But honestly, I just started this as a record for myself so I can see the progress in myself, and I like using visuals to represent this, visuals of like either pictures or videos to show the progress that I've made. So again, thank you for being here. Oh, this was before the cats got their feeder, because they got them for Christmas this year. And then my turtle warmer there sitting on the table that I'm sad. I loved that thing, and then it only lasted for a couple weeks, and then the bulb burned out on it, and then I couldn't find a replacement bulb, so it kind of went in the trash at one point. Again, this challenge has been life-changing for me, and I hope that you can challenge yourself to create something that works for you, that you can follow, and that you can make better, positive changes. Again, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to start perfect. Even if you're afraid to go to the gym, pick one thing at the gym, the treadmill, the elliptical, the stairs, and watch what people do, and then the next time you go, try something new, and eventually you're gonna get it, and then you won't be afraid anymore.